G'day guys and welcome, my name is Michael and I am the DeadAussieGamer, here to share with you my tips, tricks, ideas and strategies for playing and running tabletop role-playing games. Today we're going to be continuing our stories, having a look at the 7 deadly GM sins, and today's sin is competition. Now competition for me is like an orc, basically on its own, not too difficult, actually builds up the world, gives us a great motivator to go out and start adventuring. But once left unchecked, once left to run rampant, an orc can quickly become a horde, a gibbering, chaotic, destructive mess that is rather hard to manage and even harder to wrangle. So, let's explain this first and foremost. And then, of course, we will go into understanding how to get the most out of our GMing style if we do suffer from this nasty, vicious orc that sits on our shoulder and tells us to compete with everything. So firstly, the good side. For me, a single orc or a single act of competition is a healthy thing. It keeps our group motivated. The idea of risk, the idea of difficulty, these concepts are a means of pushing our players forward to make them feel as though they have accomplished something by dealing with something of a specific or certain difficulty. Now, competition sort of rears its ugly head when a GM starts to raise that difficulty in response to trying to, I suppose, coax your players into suffering more to achieve the thing that they're trying to achieve. Let me give you an example. An orc has invaded a local farmstead. The livestock has been slain and the wife has been captured. It is your duty to head into the wilderness and slay this orc, rescuing the wife. Now, a standard version of that adventure would basically involve the players going into the woods, tracking them down, finding this orc, and killing it. If I wanted to up the difficulty, along the way, it might be that they've lost the trail. And then suddenly there are some wolves. And then once they find the trail again, they realize that there's actually 2 or 3 different types of orcs in the area, and they need to figure out which one has the wife. Oh, and there's also a time limit as well, so if you don't make it there in time, well, sad to say that the wife's probably going to get killed. This, whether or not we mean it to be, is your GM competitive spirit rearing its ugly head. This is that orc sitting behind your GM chair with his crusty claw over you, whispering into your ear, "All right, now throw another thing at them. Yeah, all right. Or they're getting too close to winning. Here's a stick. Beat them over the head." Now, when that's one orc, you can kind of manage that. You can kind of go, "Oh, nah, okay, you know what? No, it's fine. Look, let's throw out the wolves. Don't worry about the wolves. You find the path, you find this person, let's get into the fight." Once there is more of that competitive spirit, once there's more of that, you know what? My group has beaten me every single time. Every single challenge I've faced. I've got 2 hours left in the game and I have no idea what to do because they've literally just circumvented and thwarted everything I have at them. To hell with it. I'm just going to throw everything at them. This is that horde starting to talk. Many voices saying, "Oh no, you can't have them win. You can't have them win like that. You have to throw in more stuff because they need to work for it. They haven't earned it yet. They haven't lost enough hit points. They haven't done this. They haven't done that." And that is when you start to burn. That is when your campaign, your adventure, the joy of the thing you are trying to create is being ravaged by that sin. So, that is competition as a sin. But what do we do about it? How can we deal with this nasty, vicious orc? Well, the first thing that I always like to do when I contend with the sin of competition is I like to recite one of my very, very true mantras. One of the things that, I'm not even joking, that I have learnt through years of stuffing up by listening to the damn orcs. And that is, the best GMs are the ones who know how to lose, but will never let on that that's what they want. I play with young adults at a youth center. That is my job, and I love it to bits. One of the things that I pride myself on is getting to a position where I have my competitive spirit showing, but it's not in my heart. I'll have my board out. I'll roll my dice. I'll be like, "Okay, guys, so I'm going to try and hit the caster. What's your AC? AC's 14. All right, I need to roll a 3 in order to get it. Okay, you're gonna go down. Do you have any healers? Cool. All right, you guys, you healers, you'll need to get ready because he is about to go down. He might die from this. All right, you guys ready? Here we go. Are you kidding me? All right, fine. He is actually going to use his special feat, and he's going to roll again. Yep, that's right. Because he's got this special feat. Twice in a... Nope, fine. All right, he misses. Sure, whatever. He swings his axe at the caster, and he slips, and he falls, and he breaks his damn neck. You know, now I know that kind of sounds petty, and that sounds really bad, and that was actually probably not the best story to tell. But that's the idea, right? The idea is that even if you rolled a 10 or a 20... to let the players think that you are angry or disgruntled because you have lost gives them a sense of accomplishment, gives them a sense of achievement. So telling yourself that, you know, you need to pretend that, telling myself that I need to be prepared to lose at all times, it helps. It really does. Because my goal then no longer becomes about defeating my player. It starts to reattune. My competition now is no longer between me as a GM and my players. Because that's an uneven field, you know. You as a GM, you have infinite power. The players are limited. It's now me versus myself. Can I convince my players that I am competitive? Can I convince my players that I am genuinely losing? Now, I know that a lot of people are going to say, oh, but we play by the rules. You know, you have to roll the dice and you have to achieve this and you have to do that. Absolutely. You cannot exist cheating, whether or not it's cheating to win at competition or cheating to lose with competition. You cannot exist in a role-playing game as a GM who just cheats, right? But you as a GM need to be prepared, need to be aware that your primary goal is the continuation of your adventure. The death of your entire group is not an admirable outcome. It is not something to basically go, haha, I have beaten my players, and because I have, we are now no longer playing. Wait, what? Yeah. So, losing is an art form for a GM, and if you redirect your competitive spirit towards convincing your players that you're losing, that's a great first step. The second great means of dealing with competition is, I'm not even joking, to play a weaker encounter as is. Don't make any adjustments. Don't botch any rolls. Don't do anything different. Pick a monster that is like 2 CRs lower, or pick a group of monsters that are a couple of CRs lower than that, and throw them against your players and let them tear them to shreds. For me, when I first started doing this, it was a bit of advice that was given to me by a friend who said, you know, Michael, you tend to spend so much time on single powerful enemies, you don't really give the players an opportunity to, you know, basically let loose, to cut into like an army of weaklings and just feel like champions. And I'm like, you know what? You're right. So let's try this. And I'm not joking. It was one of the most stressful moments of my GMing career. It was terrible, everything I rolled. I could not hit them on anything lower than a 19. So I was never hitting. They only had to roll a 2 or a 3 to hit me. And yeah, 1 or 2 hits would instantly kill me. Anyone was basically doing it. And over time, as that battle happened, as things progressed, I became a little bit more numb to it. I became numb to the idea of feeling bad when one of my things hit the ground. I actually started cheering for my players. I started feeling their achievement along with me. Because when they overcame a couple of monsters, I would then start to describe it, make it a little bit more awesome. You know, I didn't focus on how sour it was to lose one of my NPCs, but I started to celebrate my players pushing through the hordes, pushing through all these minions. If you can readjust, if you can realign that competitive spirit to that, you're laughing. That's absolutely fantastic, and you will do amazing things from that point onwards. Now, let's say that you're a player and you've noticed that your GM is suffering from this sin. What can you do? Well, this is probably a great time to talk about the arms race. The arms race is a very difficult situation that many GMs who find themselves in the competitive circuit find themselves dealing with. Let me give you an example. I, as a GM, have set this encounter. Let's say this encounter is on a difficulty scale of 1 to 10 at a 5. My players can deal with, let's say, a level 2. This is an obviously difficult challenge. This is something that is going to be incredibly hard. Some of them might die. Our players fight against this odd, and they somehow manage to overcome it. Maybe they've lost a PC. Maybe they've sacrificed something they didn't want to, but they've made it through the skin of their teeth. They then meet up and talk about the game. They talk about how to improve themselves. And eventually, of course, they level up and they start to move up. So instead of being at a level 2, they're now at a level 4. And then at a level 4, they've started to be a bit more creative. So while they are supposedly level 4, they're acting maybe about level 6. Now, because you know this as a GM, you're like, well, I need it to still be more difficult, so let's boost it up to a level 7. Your players then see that and get angry. We've just got all this new stuff. None of it's working. We're still on the back foot. What's going on here? All right, fine. We'll get more stuff. We'll get new feats. We'll get new spells. We'll do all these other things. And we'll boost ourselves to level 8. And then the GM goes, oh, they're still more mowing through things. That's okay. I'll just roll some dice in secret and I'll boost it up to a level 10. That's right. They can't beat me at a level 10. This is called the RPG arm race. And it's one thing that, like I said, like with the horde of orcs, bursts forth and creates an unmanageable encounter, an unmanageable scenario that there is no escape from, except for one way. The one way for you as a player to deal with that kind of GM is to not rise to the occasion. And I know that sounds terrible. This is even harder than not being competitive when you are a competitive person. What it basically means is well, you gotta die. And I know that sounds awful, but hear me out. I have played on a table with an individual who I mean, he'll swear up and down that he doesn't cheat, but he only rolls 19 to 20, and he does it behind a screen. And, you know, you can tell when stuff happens, right? Because he measures success of an encounter through hit points. And you can tell this because when we're on full hit points, a crit, another crit. Now, hang on. Wait, is your AC 31? No? Oh, well, I guess he hits you as well. And then the damage starts to come in. Now, the instant reflex here is to obviously feel frustrated, to feel angry. Don't. Let it go in. Your character is injured. Maybe tell your healer, hey, look, I'm injured. You know, don't try to die, you know. Play normally. But when you get to that point where your hit points are so low and your GM is being that competitive person who is rolling dice and fudging them, and then they go, okay, damn it, I landed another crit. Okay, cool, you take 27 damage. Awesome, I'm dead. What do you mean you're dead? Well, I had 2 hit points left, and 27's more than half my hit points, so yeah, I'm dead. Not unconscious, not dying. I am dead as a doornail. And if you see your GM's face go, oh, he doesn't hit you. This is the point where you go, no, it's fine. Yeah, they've hit me. I've died. That's no worries. I'll wait for the end of the encounter, and then I'll make a new character. It's fine. No, don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. No, it's okay. Look, I mean, I'm sure it was really fair, and you know, the fight was hard, so he died. You know, I mean, that's just what it was. The thing is that if no one's rising to that competition, if no one is competing with the GM, they have no choice. They don't want to compete, because what's going to happen? They're going to reintroduce a character every session, and if they do, then sure, that's going to simply mean that their adventure goes nowhere. Simply not rising to a challenge is tough, because we as players, we put our heart and soul into characters. We try to get involved and make something of them. And letting a character die like that, or even, you know, sort of wearing it gracefully, is hard. And it means that to help your GM overcome that that sin of competition, that nasty orc that sits behind him, whispering angry grunts into his ear, well, it does mean that sacrifices do need to be made. Blood for the horde, as I like to call it. All right, well, I hope that helps. If it doesn't, do leave a comment and let me know, because As always, I am very interested in what you guys have to say and what you guys think about these topics so that I can help you guys as best I can. As always, if you want to go chat with me directly, there are links to my Discord in the chat below, as well as my Twitch stream where you can watch me do a whole bunch of different Twitch shows. I will be doing some new things apart from just playthroughs after I return from Gen Con, so look forward to that on Twitch. And of course, if you want to help and support the Dead Aussie Gamer, then head on over to our Patreon page at patreon.com/DeadAussieGamer, whereas for as little as $2 a month, you can get me a cup of coffee and a toasty, which I like. I like toasties. I subsist off toasties. They are delicious. Well, that's pretty much all I've got time for, so thank you very much, guys. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. Until next time, as always, game hard or die trying. See you guys.